I hope you are having a wonderful day. I am back with another Zoom interview. So if you are interested in knowing, make sure you keep watching, like this video, comment down below, and enjoy the video. Today I'm interviewing Alesha from Adaptive Parenting Partner. So hi, welcome. Do you want to introduce yourself?
Sure. My name's Alesha, and I am almost 33 years old. My birthday is also this month, and I have a almost 4-year-old son, and I have cerebral palsy spastic diplegia. I now use a wheelchair full-time for mobility, and I'm the founder and president of Adaptive Parent Project, a 501c3 nonprofit dedicated to empowering parents with disabilities.
Awesome. I did not realize you had cerebral palsy too. That's so neat.
Yeah, I'm definitely part of the CP crew.
Yeah, and we are birthday month twins too. I turned 22 on the 3rd.
Yeah, and I turned 33 on the 25th, so
Nice.
almost there.
Nice. So my first question is, I know you have a nonprofit dedicated to empowering people with disabilities. Do you want to explain your why and your journey when starting the nonprofit?
So it's a little bit of a crazy story how this all started. So my son was born in March of 2019, and when he was born, I felt really isolated as a parent with a disability because I felt like I couldn't really like I didn't have any other parents with disabilities to like connect to. And I'm in San Diego, California, so I'm in a pretty big area, but like I didn't have anybody to like reach out to in my town where I could be like, hey, can we get together? Can we do things? And everywhere I went, like when I did baby sign language classes and all these things, that was before the pandemic started, obviously. I was the only parent in a wheelchair. So I really wanted to start something for parents with disabilities. And I really wanted to start when my son was really like in his first months of life, but being a new mom, it was just really overwhelming. And so on May 2nd of 2020, we launched our YouTube our YouTube channel. And I had no idea that even though our YouTube channel was so small, we were going to grow so exponentially. So I started sharing my adaptive parenting techniques with other parents and getting other parents from around the world to basically also contribute their ideas and let them know like what's going on. Good morning, Nolan. Nolan just woke up, so he'll probably join us shortly. So I started the YouTube channel sharing my adaptive parenting techniques and doing things like that and getting other parents from around the world to contribute. And then in 2020, I believe it was 2021, I applied to be an Airy Real change maker. And out of over 600 applicants, Adaptive Parent Project made the top 20. So we received $20,000 to launch our project. And so then we launched into a nonprofit. And then from there, I started applying for other grants, and I ended up getting one from the State Council for Developmental Disabilities in California. And so that was a really exciting time, and we've just kind of grown from there. And our YouTube channel is really small, like we only have 350 subscribers because I haven't been able to do as many videos as I wanted. But really, I just wanted a place for parents with disabilities to be able to come together and like share ideas with each other and things like that, because right now there really is no other support for parents with disabilities, and I knew I had to change that.
Definitely. Even with me, that's kind of why I started my YouTube channel too. Because in local community, I feel like it's really, really hard to find your people and your connection. But when you want social media, there are so many people out there like you just have to hunt them down and find the right people.
Right.
Um, so my next question is, what type of services does AP Adaptive Parenting Partner offer for disabled parents, and why might parents want to reach out to you for assistance?
So I do, like, on our website we're growing and I'm still working on things. Our website just launched this past October 28th. And website design and all that stuff is new to me. So I went to UCSD for college and majored in human biology with a minor in healthcare. So I had to kind of learn all these other skills and do all these other things that I was never anticipating that I was going to learn. So our goal with Adaptive Parent Project is to have a nationwide resource, and even at some point international resource, of physicians in different specialties that are disability informed. I am also in the process of creating a resource guide for parents of, like, different disability related baby products and things that help me, and getting other parents with disabilities to contribute what products they've used. We like to offer peer support and mentoring if that's necessary. We want to offer accessible, like, show you accessible parks and, like, accessible play spaces, and basically anything that a parent with a disability could need. We kind of want to be that all-inclusive resource, if that makes sense.
Amazing.
So we're growing, but stick with us. We're getting there, I promise.
Yeah, and if you need help with any web design or editing, let me know. I ended up building a website too, and I finally know what I'm doing. It took
Right?
a while, but I finally got the idea. What is the biggest failure you see for disabled parents in society, and what changes do you wish society would make?
In my personal opinion, I think one of the biggest barriers is just that society sees that they feel that people with disabilities can't be good parents, and that's absolutely couldn't be further from the truth. And I think people are really kind of close-minded when it comes to the idea of parents with disabilities having children, because they think, well, if you need help, like, taking care of yourself, then why would you have a child? That's selfish. That's putting so much on the child. So I think that, for me, is the biggest barrier. Yes, you can have milk, Nolan. Do you want to say hi to Anna?
Hi,
This is Mama's friend Anna. This is Nolan.
hi. But, but
He's almost 4. So
okay. But yeah, I was miss watching the movie Danny Twins.
yes.
And I was like so surprised that people don't see people with disabilities can have children and be good parents. I mean, why? Well, this normal people. And we might need help, but we need help with anything, you know, anyway. So what's the difference with children and the daily help we already need?
Well, and there's so many able-bodied people that need help with,
Right.
things. And it's so frustrating that people think being able-bodied is like being a prerequisite to being a parent. But I think
Right.
being a parent with a disability is there's so much more that's involved that people don't realize. Like my son is learning empathy and to help people at a much younger age than a lot of other children.
And
And
go ahead.
oh no, I was just gonna say, like, he's learning a lot of these skills, and it's beautiful because for him, he doesn't really see my disability. He just sees me as mom. So he's already learning all these things that I wish every child could learn,
Right.
from the get-go.
And I like if we're not gonna put that in the why can't we value parenthood? Whatever it looks like for whoever, whether you're able-bodied or not, it can be valued at the same level, you know?
Exactly.
Yeah, if not more, you know what I mean? Um, okay, as we all know, as we all know, as we all know, one of the biggest ways to move toward into inclusive world is
Mama, I will
education.
see her dog.
I know you are currently working on a man
Mama, I will see her doggy.
Okay, you have to wait, buddy.
complete hospital developmental disability in California. And part of this man is to help make continuing education for healthcare professionals to be more knowledgeable about working with people with disabilities. Why is this important, and how would this help pave the way to a more inclusive society for all?
So it's really interesting that you bring that up because I was like, I was so excited when I found out we were granted these funds that I like could have fallen out of my wheelchair. Because from what I had been told, getting state grants is extremely difficult. And I had never written a grant application before. And I don't know if you've ever looked into it, but it's a pretty lengthy process. And so basically, when I started this process and I did this project narrative for this grant, it was kind of putting into words a dream for myself of what I would do as a person with a developmental disability to make change to help make change and make a more inclusive society. So, when I was selected, I, first of all, didn't expect to be selected because most people told me, oh, it takes, 5 years being a nonprofit organization to even be considered for grants like that. So I was kind of doing it as practice to get used to writing grants. And then when I received it, I definitely wasn't expecting it. But I just had a meeting with them recently where I was able to meet with them one-on-one. And I said, do you realize that I have cerebral palsy and I'm developmentally disabled? And have you ever granted funds to a nonprofit organization that was headed by somebody that was developmentally disabled? And they said, to their knowledge, they didn't think so. So, when Nolan, please stop. Please stop, buddy. Sorry, he's mashing on my keyboard. So when, I started all this, I really wanted to create a lot of things, including a curriculum for healthcare providers to be more disability informed, because there is no formal education training in medical school or anything like that for working with people with disabilities. So when I launched this project, I also wanted to create plain language materials for people with developmental disabilities so that they actually feel included when they go in the doctor's office and see, pictures of people like them on handouts and things like that. Because right now you don't see that unless you're going into like a specialty office that sees, primarily people with disabilities.
Right. I think that's really awesome because, like you said, like you don't see it, and no matter how professionals want knowledgeable about disability at all. I wish they were, but they're not.
No.
You know, and I'm about to transition over to another doctor from my childhood one to an adult one, and that is complicated. I hear, I don't know, but I hear that complicated. So it would be interesting if there were more books and resources for everybody, you know, about
Right. And I think on that note, like something for you and for everybody that I recommend
Mama,
is
why is there blankets on?
because daddy put them there. Something that I recommend is kind of interviewing your physician and be like, this is the role that I need you to play in my healthcare. And these are the kind of things that I'm going to kind of expect and need from you. And are you willing to help me meet these needs? And you're basically like interviewing them to see if they feel comfortable kind of meeting you where you're at and what your needs are. And then you kind of know from there whether, you know, you can stick with them or whether you need to find somebody else that's more comfortable meeting your unique needs. Because I feel like in my position, for example, my primary care doctor plays a lot of more like a different role because I have so many specialists that if I need something for my primary care doctor, I need to be like, hey, I need this letter, or I need this test or whatever it may be for this reason. And I kind of need him to be on the same page with me and kind of, help everything along. Or if my specialists are not really seeing something or understanding something, then, he's there to provide backup support. So it's a unique role when you have a disability, I think.
definitely and wonderful advice. My best question is, okay, how can my viewer help you help with the man and get more information if they want it?
So it's actually perfect timing that you bring that up because we have 2 focus groups that are scheduled as part of research for this grant. One is scheduled on February 17th, which is a Friday at 12 noon Pacific Standard Time. And the other one is scheduled for Tuesday, February 21st at 6:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So if either of those times work and you can kind of come into the Zoom call and bring to the table what you wish healthcare professionals knew, that would be great. The link is in our link tree on Amazon to register. And, anybody with a disability or family members or professionals, anybody that's watching, if you can be a part of it and want to be, we would love to have you. Follow us on Instagram and check out our website, adaptiveparentproject.org, and just reach out to us if you have any questions or if there's anything that you need help with. We're here for you and we will help you troubleshoot. And if I don't have the answer, I will do my very best to find somebody that does.
Awesome. And I'll put all that information in the description so it's easier for you guys to find it. Thank you for being on my channel.
Thank you so much for having me. I apologize